What's up, Fleet Beaters? My name is Francheska Fit, and today I'm going to guide you through a hip and ankle mobility routine. It should only take about 20 to 30 minutes, and you'll feel great afterwards. All right, team, so for the first movement for today, we're going to do something called the prisoner squat. So it's a funny name, but with this squat pattern, we're going to focus on trying to keep a vertical spine as much as we can. So the goal of this one is we're going to start a little bit wider than hip distance. Whatever your comfortable squat stance is great as well. My feet are going to be pointed out just slightly, and then first thing I'm going to do, instead of dropping the hips back, I'm going to descend with the knees. So I'm going to drive my knees forward slightly, making sure they're not caving in. I'm driving them forward and out. So I'm descending with the knees and then with the hips. But the key for the prisoner squat is the hands are going to be behind the nape of the neck. I'm going to make sure we're not pulling on the head. So tall spine, elbows are out wide, and the goal is to try to maintain a vertical spine. So we're going to do 6 of these. So knees forward as much as you can, keep the heels down, and then descend with the hips as well, keeping the spine nice and long, remembering not to pull on your head. And I like to think about really activating that upper back by pulling the shoulders wide, or elbows and shoulders wide, and really extending through that upper back. Knees forward, hips down, that's 3. You might have to play with your squat stance a little bit. I'm gonna just open up slightly to make it a little bit more comfortable for my body type. Let's do one more. Maintaining tension throughout the entire range of motion. All right, so for the next movement, we're gonna go into a down dog, into a twisted mountain climber. This is a personal favorite. So starting in plank position, press back into my down dog. I personally like to do my down dogs a little bit more active, so instead of pressing the heels down, I like to lift through the heels just a little bit to get more of an active stretch to those hamstrings, and we're closing the gap with the shoulders. So making sure the elbows aren't loose or soft. We're gonna extend the elbows, straight arms, pressing through the ground. So from our down dog position, I'm gonna step my right foot forward into this mountain climber position. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pivot on our feet. So I'm pivoting on my back foot onto the edges of both of my feet. I'm gonna reach up and back, really making sure that we're pressing away from the floor so that we're not collapsing into that front shoulder. So back to center. We're gonna do 6 reps here as well. So nice strong down dog, hips up towards the ceiling. I'm making sure that I'm prioritizing that spine, especially the low back. So I'm lengthening and not trying to round it. So really going for length. Left foot outside of left hand. And this is a better view of the pivot for the foot. So I actually pivot on the heel on the front leg and then plant on the side of that foot as I reach and drive the hips gently into the ground. I'm still staying active throughout this entire stretch. Gripping the floor with your hands, driving through those heels, lifting the heels, lifting the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Right foot steps outside of right hand. We pivot on the feet, pressing the floor away from us, pulling everything in towards our midsection. So abs are tight, glutes are active. We're halfway through this one. Pivot, reach. One more. One more each side, that is. Just kidding, one more each side. Last one. And we're going to do 3 rounds of all of these movements. So we're going to do 1 more movement, and then we're going to repeat this for 2 more rounds. Woo, awesome. I'm already starting to feel a little warm. So for the next movement, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the inner thighs. So in this movement, I want y'all to think about staying tall through your spine, and then once we get to the end range motion, we can lean into it a little bit more. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna start as wide as I can. So you can call this like a horse stance or straddle. So we're all gonna start in this position. You can have the feet out at an angle or forward. It's kind of just up to your difficulty level. If you're a little bit more advanced in mobility, you can keep or ankle mobility specifically, you can keep the toes forward, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually bring the hands to the ground and we're gonna keep the hands on the ground the entire time. So similar to that down dog, make sure that we're not rounding, but trying to lengthen through that spine. And it's fine if you soften the knees just a little bit here. So making sure that I'm prioritizing the spine, lengthening through my hamstrings, flicking my tailbone back. I'm gonna crawl with the hands to my right and left foot, going into a cossack lunge. So as I crawl, I'm gonna shift down and then we're gonna sit up. So I think I might have said it backwards. So at first we're gonna be more horizontal, and then as we shift into the end range, we're gonna come more vertical. I'm trying to shift. Then we're gonna externally rotate this foot up towards the ceiling, really lifting those toes up, trying to posture up. You can keep the hands here too, or you can lift them to see how you feel at the bottom of that stretch. And remember, only go as deep as your flexibility and range of motion allows. One more each side. All right, so that is round one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the top. We're gonna increase the intensity just a little bit. So just not as slow as the first one since I was demoing everything. Each movement, we got prisoner squats, twisted mountain climber, and then we are gonna do the crawling Cossacks, all right? So here we go. We're gonna do 6 reps, not too much rest in between, all right? So remember, arms up, we're not pulling on our head, trying to stay tall, and I'm actively pulling my elbows back and wide, extending through that upper back, trying to maintain a vertical spine, okay? Remember, your squat stance is wherever you're comfortable. I'm gonna go a little wider, and here we go. Knees forward, keeping the spine as vertical as we can, slowly descending with the hips, and back up. That's 1 rep. Use your breath. I like to inhale down. Exhale up. That's 4. My elbows wanted to go forward. Pull them back, pull them back. And 5. On that one, some of us might feel like we're losing the midsection and kind of going for one of these. Really see if you can maintain those abs tight, all right? Here we go. Down dogs to twisted mountain climber team. So lift the heels and lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Left foot steps outside of left hand. Twist at the feet, drop the hips, reach, and remember not to fall into that base shoulder. You wanna push the floor away from you despite which angle you're in. So no matter what angle we're in, with body weight stuff, you always wanna push the floor away from you. Same thing, downward dog, I'm actively pushing the floor away from you. Halfway through, this is 3. Last one. Time flies when you're having fun. All right. Woo. And then we're gonna go into our crawling Cossack. Same thing, 6 reps. Hands down. You can start with both knees locked out if you'd like. Going for vertical spine at that end range of motion. And then leaning into it if you need to. Trying to stay active the entire time. If this is your end range, that is fine. Just go as deep as you can control. Challenge yourself a little bit. 1 more each way. Last one. All right, beautiful. So now we're gonna do one more round. This is it. All right, so our last round of prisoner squats. So remember, not pulling on your head, trying to stay long through the spine, knees forward, hips down. That's one. Inhale. Stay long through your spine. Elbows back, knees forward. It's 4. One more. Really pull. That's 4. Sorry, 2 more. Pull those elbows back. Counting is not my specialty. Last one. Elbows back, elbows back. Awesome. Here we go. Last set of your downward dogs to twisted mountain climbers. See if you can kind of find the flow and make the transitions as seamless as possible here on round 3. All right, last one. Best one is what they say. Right foot outside of right hand. Twist at the feet and reach. Come back to center. Remember, even though you're kind of passive at that end range of motion, see if you can create as much tension as you can. So creating tension's all kind of in your mindset. Getting tension all the way from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. Keeping the glutes, abs, spine long. One more each side. I'm sweating, team. I was not expecting to get a little sweat on, but I always surprise this. And I started on my right, so we gotta start on the left, even if I lost count. Pretty sure this is 6 though. Awesome job, team. Last one, last crawling cossack. Whew, nice and wide. Bring the hands down. I'm gonna say it one more time just because I always do it too. If you need to soften the knees, you can, but remember, try to lengthen through the hamstrings, lengthen through that tailbone, and lengthen through that spine. No rounded backs here. Left leg. Own that end range of motion. Same thing here as the twisted mountain climbers. Even though you can kind of fall into a little bit more of a passive range here at the end, really go for active, strong positioning. That's 4, 5, last one, 6. I'm gonna be feeling great after this. All right, so for circuit 2, we're gonna do the same structure as the previous one. We're gonna do 3 exercises, repeat them for 3 rounds, and each exercise just has 6 repetitions. So for the first one, we're gonna do a single leg internal and external rotation of the hip. So I'm gonna keep a soft bend in my knees, even when I assume this single leg position. So keeping my knees soft, I'm gonna squeeze my glutes, squeeze my abs, and I'm gonna keep the knees soft as I lift one foot up. So the goal of this movement is to always trail the standing leg with the working leg. So what that means is as I lift my heel up, it's gonna trail my standing leg. As I lift my knee up on the internal rotation, I'm going to try to trail that leg. Here it goes, rep 1. I'm trailing the working leg with the heel, and now we're trailing the working leg with the knee. Keeping the abs tight, staying long through your spine. This is external rotation. Internal rotation. External rotation. Internal rotation. That's 3 reps. External rotation. Keep that knee soft on that base leg, hip strong. Internal rotation. You should feel your foot working real hard. And last one. So same thing on that other leg. Really see if you can maintain that soft knee, because a lot of us have the habit of locking that knee out, which is fine, but we really want to make sure that we can own that soft knee and bring more glute engagement and activation into the hip. So same thing. Soft knee, top of the spine, glute is firing as much as I can. So heel is gonna trail the standing leg, knee trails the standing leg. Heel, and knee. Heel, knee. Let's do 3 more. And on that internal rotation, see if you can lift that heel as high as you can. Whew. Those feel fantastic. Might be a little bit lit up in those TFLs, but that's great, and that means that you need it. So if you have a little bit of cramps, it's completely normal. So we're gonna do another single leg isolation on this one. So this is going to be your single leg Tootsie Roll. So what this is gonna be is we're gonna hinge at the hips. So it's gonna be kind of with a staggered stance hinge, and then I'm gonna trail the edges of my feet. So this is what it's gonna look like. So, and one more thing, I only want y'all to go as deep as you can control. So I'm gonna go on the lateral aspect of my foot, and notice my knee follows and my hip abducts. So I want all of this movement to primarily come from the hip. Then I'm gonna come on to the balls of my feet, only as far as I can go. Internal rotation onto the edge, heel, lateral displacement onto that lateral edge, forward, in, out, right? We're gonna do 3 reps each direction, and then we'll switch legs. So 1, only go as far as you can control. And you're seeing if you can like slowly displace your weight. But that'll kind of take time if this is your first time doing them. So don't worry too much about displacing weight unless you've done similar exercises to this one before. And we're gonna switch directions. So you shouldn't feel anything crazy in the knee because all of that weight is being held or absorbed by the hip. The hip is that primary mover here. So I want us to think about holding the weight, holding the tension in the hip. All right, other leg. So I'm gonna go in, forward, out, onto the heel. And it's completely normal for us to have one side that's better at this than the other. My right side is just way better. And switch directions, just 3 each way. Ooh, those are fun. All right, and on this last exercise, we're going to do a twisting bridge. So we're going to go into a glute bridge. And first thing I want to say about the glute bridge is as we do these repetitions, I don't want us to go for height. We're gonna actually go for a pelvic tuck instead. So instead of trying to bring your hips up as high as you can, I want y'all to bring your feet as close as you can to your bum, and then we're gonna drive our knees forward. And as I drive my knees forward, I'm gonna feel a gentle stretch in the quads, and I'm gonna really tuck the pelvis under. So if you have too much of a stretch on the quads, like me right now, I'm gonna walk my feet out just a little bit. So we're gonna drive the knees forward and really focus on tucking that pelvis under. We're gonna drive the knees out just a little bit. So nothing crazy. So pelvis tucked under, laterally driving out the knees just a little bit to get more glute engagement. So from the top of this position, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold it and we're gonna reach overhead. But the goal on this one is to see if we can keep the hips from rotating as much as we can. You'll feel a little bit of rotation, but see if you can fight it and reach with your upper body and root yourself into the ground and stay in place by squeezing the hips as much as you can. Squeeze both of them, squeeze both glutes. And down. You got 3 more. So remember to drive up those knees laterally a little bit too, as if you had a hip band on or one of those little circle bands. Whew. 1 more. Remember, we're not going for height on that glute bridge. We're going for a strong pelvic tuck. So you should feel your bum working on that. All right, team. So this is it. We got 2 rounds, same thing as the last one. We're not gonna go as slowly through it since you're familiar to it and I won't be demoing. So here we go. Single leg stance, internal, external rotation, 6 reps each side. External, Remember, knee is soft, glute is engaged. Internal. Stay tall through your spine. Let's do one more for good luck because I lost count. And honestly, those are a personal favorite. I love those for my low back health. It actually helps a lot on that internal external rotation. Here we go, other side. Remember, knee is soft. I always lock it out too, I know, but it really helps bring more tension and strength to the glutes by keeping it soft. External. Internal. I'll count this time, I promise. External. Woo, internal, halfway. External. Internal, and I love to kind of see which side is better at internal, which side is better at external, just to get a better idea of, wow, which side needs a little bit more work. Pretty sure that was 6. Let's keep it moving, team. We have our single leg Tootsie Rolls. Here we go. And we're doing just 3 reps each direction, so it's 6 each side. Remember that weight is being held in the glutes. You're using the hip to control this movement, and you're only going as far as you can control. It's not about how deep you go, it's about how much you can control that range of motion. Whew. All right, other side, here we go. Switch directions. Ooh, all right. So twisting bridge, same thing. Really see if you can use those hips to try to ground yourself and not try to wobble as much as you can to side to side. So hips up first, squeezing the glutes as hard as I can. Reaching, and I'm even pushing off that base shoulder just a little bit. See if you can reach as far as you can with that bottom arm towards your feet and as far as you can overhead. Don't lose the midsection. 5 and 6. Whew. All right, team. Last one. I hope you guys really love those internal external hip rotations. It's really like dear to my heart, and that's one that I constantly remind myself to not skip because sometimes it's a little exhausting. All right, I know it's an easy mobility exercise, but my left hip takes so much energy to try to get it to move that way. All right, let's go. No more chatting. So I'm gonna do left hip is working this time. Three, halfway. Yeah, my left side just takes so much concentration for me to get it to move how I want. And it doesn't do it how I want it to. Last one. All right. Last one, best one. Here we go. Right leg. External. Internal. Stay long through the spine. That's 2. Can't tell if that was 3 or 4, so we're gonna make it 3. This is 4 now. 5. If you're sweating at home, I feel you. I have some little drips going down right now. Woo! Single leg Tootsie Rolls, last set. If you wanna make it a little bit more dynamic on these, see if you can really smoothen out that trailing on the side of the foot. So instead of it being like lateral, ball, internal edge, see if you can just kind of blur the edges. Here we go. Only 3 each direction. Take your time. Really feel the hip engaging in every range of motion. Switch directions. Ooh, I hope y'all heard that pop because I don't know where it came from. I feel like it came from my foot. I'm not sure. All right, so 3 each direction. Switch directions. You know what it is. Last one, best one. So it keeps me saying, like, there's only one more. There's just one more. All right, 6 reps and we're done, team. Let's go. Drive up. Remember, tucking is the most important thing. Really tuck the hips under, ground yourself, pull with your legs, and down. 2. 4. 5. And last one. I hope y'all enjoyed that workout as much as me. So I hope y'all have a great day. See you next time.